Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Look at this, we literally made it to 8 billion humans and literally like, happy birthday, happy birthday. I cannot keep up with this number saying happy birthday. And it causes me to wonder, what will real estate look like in the future? So I've got my magic crystal ball here. And in today's video, we're going to ask ourselves, real estate in the year 2050, with that going down, what's real estate really gonna look like?
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Have you ever heard of the phrase economic winter? It refers to what happens to a nation when it can't keep up with its birth population and all of the real estate no longer has a population to invest in it and buy it. Like this started happening already in the 70s and 80s to Japan, and all of a sudden there's all this real estate that people can't buy anymore. Is it destroying the value of property? But more importantly, we got a lot of people watching this channel that are interested in the US, invest in the US, and they want to know, what does our trajectory as a country look like by the year 2050? Because if I'm a real estate investor, and that's why I'm on this channel, and I get a 30-year mortgage from today, by the time I get that thing paid off, it will be 2050. What will the world look like then? So yeah, we literally just passed the 8 billion mark. 100 years ago, guess what? We were only at the 2 billion mark. And when did we pass 7 billion? Only 11 years ago. So look at what is happening to population now in just very short periods of time. It is growing dramatically. Let's start though then in today's video with the 4 factors that are going to affect what real estate looks like the most. And it does start with population. So let's look at number 1. So check it out. While 8 billion people definitely sounds like a lot, population growth is slowing in most developed nations. Though the current US birth rate is 1.64 births per woman, 2 keeps the population steady, the US continues to grow steadily mainly due to immigration. In other words, our birth rate means that we're not replacing ourselves. Like a dude and a dudette, breeders come together and you get 1.6 humans.
Now, once upon a time, there was a man dolly and there was a lady dolly.
You don't get 2, we're not replacing ourselves, but America's still a great nation. So a lot of people migrate here, they're moving here. And what that means is that with population increasing, it fits into the equation of supply and demand. Like you understand that a home is worth what someone is willing to pay. And if you had more homes than humans that wanted them, then people wouldn't be willing to pay very much for a home. Right now we're missing millions of homes, but by the time we get to 2050 or even just a decade from now, what's actually gonna shift and change? Right now, population is on our side, but it won't always be that way. Then you have to talk about affordability, and with the advent of the 40-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage, guess what that does? It means that payments are going to go down and it makes real estate more affordable for people. With 40-year mortgages already available in some cases, it's not unlikely that in the next 30 years, they will become widespread. While in the short term, this will make homes more affordable, in reality, home prices will increase until the 40-year monthly payment becomes the same as the current 30-year mortgage. Personally, as an investor, I'm stoked about this. I wish these programs were more readily available. Why? Because it means more cash flow. It means that I don't care if I'm paying on literally a mortgage for 100 years because I'm not trying to pay off the home. I'm trying to control the home. And in controlling it, I'm asking, what can you do for me today? Well, there's appreciation today. Well, there's cash flow today. There's tax benefits today. And sure, eventually it'll get paid off. But for me, I usually only hold my real estate for like 5, 6, 7 years before I sell it and trade up for several more homes, which, get this math. If I can buy one home today and just average 25% annual ROI, it's pretty easy to do with my system on a couple billion in real estate, that one home turns into many homes over 20 years, which can literally create $4.3 million. But if I get what my actual ROI is, if I continue to average 34%, then I'm getting $17 million. So controlling real estate is really the game that I'm in, and this is a really cool thing for investors. Number three, we got to talk about what climate change is going to do to real estate, because it definitely has an impact. No, this is not a Greenpeace video, even though I am a tree hugger for what I think we're doing with our emissions on the planet, because there's a lot of scientists that basically say, climate change is actually just a cycle that happens regardless of what humans are doing on the planet. We're not going to have that combo, but we are going to say climate change is real, and that is having a real impact on real estate. For example, a recent survey from Redfin found that 50% of respondents who plan to move in the next year said that extreme temperatures or increasing frequency of natural disasters have played a role in their decision to relocate. If climate change does cause flooding in coastal areas, the amount of total housing can be reduced. For example, safe states, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, Vermont, Ohio. States that are prone to disaster, Texas, California, Oklahoma, New York, Florida. So in other words, if let's just say that the water levels increase and we are getting more natural disaster and flooding in Florida, and people were to do the opposite of what's happening right now, because this is the #1 migration state in the country, if people were to reverse migrate out of there, what's going to happen to that real estate? Well, guess what? Over the next 30 years, climate change is going to continue, and some of these states could end up being affected. And the fourth factor to consider when looking at what real estate in 2050 could look like is home ownership. The home ownership rate has decreased steadily with every generation since the boomers. This is due in part to the increasing transient nature of our society, as well as large buyers like BlackRock paying top dollar for single-family homes. By 2050, rates will likely decline from today's 65% to below 60%, increasing the cost of homes and really determining who owns them. Is it corporations? Is it something that'll become governments, or will it still be individuals? Which means, based on these trends, if you wanted to be a successful investor in the game, when would now be the right time to start doing that? So based on that, real estate is going to definitely be impacted over the next 30 years. We got population increasing, we got 40-year mortgages on the rise, we've got climate affecting things, and then changes in home ownership. And I'm going to tell you something, if 90% of millionaires today are doing it in the game of real estate, and if the divide between the have and the have-nots is increasing, I'm going to tell you, those that own real estate and own business are going to be those that are in the most control of their financial futures, which is why, frankly, I produce this content, and I'm encouraging you to be a subscriber and to hang with me so I can teach you how to elevate your financial genius and start just modeling what wealthy people do, leading to this. You have an opportunity right now to invest in the game of real estate. Right now you're investing in something, and if you're like most, you're putting it in 401ks, IRAs, maybe just trying to get your house paid off. But do you realize where you're going to be by the time you get to retirement age? The average person has $200,000 in their retirement accounts. Even if your house is paid off, a paid off house and a couple $100,000, what can that really do for you in retirement? Answer, not very much, which means you need a different game plan. You need to be obsessed with learning the game of money and becoming better at making it. It's the parable of the talents. Are you multiplying them, or are you burying them in unproductive financial devices, or even just leaving it straight up in the bank with inflation like right now? No, right now you should be learning how to invest and get higher ROIs. And real estate is a great way to do that. This little bad boy could literally be making you 25 to 35% each year on your money. And if you want to know how to do that with doing none of the work, like let's just say theoretically you knew somebody that was really expert at this and had done, I don't know, thousands of transactions and would partner with you and actually do all the heavy lifting for you. If that's of interest, click the link below and let me show you how to get your money actually working for you and doing something really productive. Special congratulations and happy birthday to the 1,000 people that have been born since I started making this video. And for those of you that want to actually learn about getting in the game of real estate as a beginner, like what are the basics of how to win and crush it, click right here. Let me show you right now how to win every single time.